The return of the White House Correspondents Dinner tomorrow night after a 3-year absence is a sure sign that the Washington political elites are getting back to normal. But that return to normal is happening very differently than it is in the rest of the country. This event is taking place with some unusually stringent but confusing COVID protocols, which makes you wonder, is it about safety or more just about an absurd bit of theatrics? 2,600 people are expected to pack the ballroom at the Washington Hilton tomorrow night for the big gala. And according to regulations issued by the White House Correspondents Association, which is putting on the dinner, every person in the building has to submit proof of a negative same-day COVID test. Attendees are required to download an app, which will force them to submit their test results and proof of vaccination in order to gain entry. But even same-day rapid tests are far from foolproof. And if you're concerned about an outbreak that you're forcing 2,600 people to have a same-day test, then should you really be putting 2,600 people in a room together? Now, that's not my view, but the Correspondents Association has decided the show has to go on, and President Joe Biden will be there, at least for part of it. This is what White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said on Wednesday about the president's plans for the evening.
I would expect that he may wear a mask when he's not speaking. I'll wear a mask when I'm at the dinner in all likelihood. And we also took steps, including the fact that he's not attending for the eating portion of the dinner, and he'll be there for the program, which includes a number of speakers, the presentation of scholarships, as you know, and of course, his speaking and his roasting, where he will be on the menu, as he likes to say, when Trevor Noah is speaking. So, just like anything, it's a risk assessment and a decision he made on a personal basis.
So let me get this straight. He's attending the dinner, but not going to the eating portion of the dinner. Seems like usually an important part of a dinner. And he's going to wear a mask, but only when he's not talking, because apparently you can't get the virus while you're talking. Now, much of this hand-wringing from the D.C. elites comes from an outbreak earlier this month at a major Washington social event called the Gridiron Dinner. At least 72 of the roughly 600 attendees were known to have come down with the virus, including Attorney General Merrick Garland, Senator Susan Collins, Congressman Adam Schiff, and, of course, Vice President Kamala Harris tested positive earlier this week. Dr. Anthony Fauci is among those who have bailed from the White House Correspondents' Dinner. But I think Fox's Bret Baier was entirely correct to ask this question of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
You just told me you're going to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The president's going to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You're not mandated to wear a mask there. But the administration at the same time is fighting a lawsuit to mandate people on planes, trains, and trains and buses to wear masks. So, if you're sitting at home, there's a disconnect here.
Well, I think most of us understand the difference between a hotel ballroom and an airplane. But look, as a practical matter, and I know this is confusing, if you're getting on an airplane, it's your call. It's up to you.
It is confusing. Doesn't have to be. Look, life goes on. I'm all for this dinner taking place tomorrow night. What I'm not for is the gamesmanship and hypocrisy around symbolic and arbitrary lines that are sometimes drawn. What does it show to see Joe Biden masked one minute and unmasked the next? It won't protect him from the virus any more than it will any criticism coming his way from the mask up or anti-mask crew. I think just go out and have a nice dinner Saturday night, just like the rest of us will. Joining us now is Judy Kurtz. She writes the In the Know column for The Hill, which covers all things Washington. She's covered the last 10 Correspondents' Dinners in person. Judy, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it. All right, am I being unfair here in saying that it seems like there's a lot of theater involved in the president's schedule and mask wearing and dinner versus not dinner?
I certainly see your point, Dan. And I know a number of people personally who have backed out of going to the dinner, either because they have little kids who can't get vaccinated yet, or they got scared off by the gridiron, but they're also not the president of the United States. I think it would have been wise for Biden's team in this case to originally, when they first said they were accepting the invitation, say he's going to make an appearance maybe at the Correspondents' Dinner. It just looks silly now that they're kind of winnowing down what he'll be doing at the dinner. He's not going to be there for the eating portion. Next, he won't be there for the talking portion. Then it'll be the blinking portion of the dinner. Right. That just makes them look a little ridiculous.
But see, what it seems to me is the president and his team are just so afraid of the criticism that they don't know exactly what to do, right? They want to go because they want to make it clear that life goes on, but they're worried about those particularly on the left who will say, well, wait a sec, this is a possible super spreader event and you need to be more careful, et cetera. And he's trying to sort of walk this fine line. And in the end, it all just kind of looks silly.
It might look silly. There also is another factor here, which is he's doing everything he can to not do what his predecessor did. President Trump didn't attend the White House Correspondents Dinner, bucked tradition for the 4 years in office, never went. So he's trying to show how he's different from the previous president. The dinner also raises money for journalism scholarships. It's always had its critics, this dinner, but its organizers are always quick to point out that it does serve a good purpose in doing that.
I saw one person quoted, and I'm not trying to highlight her hypocrisy, quoted in your article, who was saying, well, I'm not going to go to the event itself but I am going to go to this fancy brunch that happens on the Sunday after the event because I'm not going to go Friday because I'm a little nervous about a super spreader, but I'm going to go to this brunch on Sunday. I mean, this is the problem. Is that none of this kind of makes sense, right? In terms of intellectual consistency.
I think that's the case for a lot of how many of us have handled COVID, though. There's a lot of inconsistencies. We say, well, go to one event, not the other. In all fairness, that brunch that you're speaking of is a largely outdoor event. So maybe there was a risk assessment done there.
What if it rains?
Your point is well taken.
What if it rains?
What if it rains? Yeah, then we'll have a lot of swampy people, wet and swampy people.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, Judy, thank you very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Dan.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.